pit stop. It's a pit stop. Pit stop. It's a pit stop. Pit stop. It's a pit stop. Pit stop. And welcome back to the Purple Pants Podcast Pit Stop coverage of Amazing Race Season 35, Episode 11. I am joined by my amazing co-host, the winner of Season 29 of the Amazing Race, Miss Brooke Cam High, but now known as Miss Brooke Goodwin. Brooke, how are you?
I'm great. My neck hurts. I'm great. I'm excited. This was honestly one of my favorite episodes, maybe ever. I really, really loved it. I cried. I cheered. I yelled. The dog went berserk when I did all of those things. Matt was like, stop yelling. And I was like, I can't. It's just so good. And so, big fan.
Yeah, I love this episode. I got emotional at the end, and I felt like, sometimes my gripe with Amazing Race, well, I mean, I still have kind of a gripe, but I wasn't as mad because I felt like this judge was like, yeah, no, do it again.
Oh, I liked him.
Do it again. But I also realized, like, towards the end of whatever. But so that was my cherry and my gripe. Or what do they say? Like, when you have one thing positive, one thing negative.
I don't know what the term is, though, but I know what you're talking about.
Well, that was my one cherry.
Your cherry and your caper, because I don't like capers. So
I don't know if I ever had. What is a caper? Is that
like those little teeny salty like things that are on like a chicken piccata? Like those, they're kind of like little, they're not olives, but they're in the same family as like sun-dried tomatoes, little tiny green things. They're very salty, but they're also, I don't like them.
Well, I love capers. Olives. I love pickles. Do you
like sun-dried tomatoes?
Yeah.
Oh, it's like, and I should, like, that's like the food of my like ancestors, and yet still not for me.
Now, I don't love every sun-dried tomato, but I do love sun-dried tomatoes.
Especially you put some blue cheese in some olives, though, and dunk them in a martini, and I'm good for the night. That's it. Blue
Works
cheese
for me.
Yes, exactly. Maybe we'll have some next week. Okay, sorry.
No.
I'm packing. You're doing the capers.
Oh, capers. Okay.
Now, I am very excited to see who next week is going to win all the Gutennach.
Oh, my God. Can you believe?
It's time for Gutennach.
Can you believe that there's only one more episode left in this season?
No, it's like, it makes me very sad. But on the bright side, the next season is starting very soon. So if you want to get rid of us, you can't, internet. We're here.
We're here.
Exactly. And if you haven't seen it yet, please do go see our exit interview with the most recently eliminated team, who they started by saying, we weren't supposed to talk to you till next week. And I was like, that's the best opening to an interview ever. And they're right. They probably weren't supposed to talk to us till next week. I think they were robbed, but we'll get to it. So what do you say we jump into leg 11?
I was going to say, I'm ready to jump into some cold water, but all right, let's go.
Have fun. I am not ready for that was legitimate. Okay. So leg 11, they're flying 1,000 miles from Stockholm, Sweden to Dublin, Ireland, which I think there are so many things to do in Ireland. It's such a gorgeous country that I think some of the things they did you have to do some like iconic things, but I'm actually a fan of all the things they did. They were all a little bit different. The leg had a little bit of a different cadence than the other legs. There were no detours and 2 roadblocks, which I think was pretty interesting. And I think that really made the decision. Who had to do the roadblocks made the decision on who went home. Because, on my season, you had to do, by the end of leg 9, you had to have at least done 4. Each team member had to do 4. And so I had done my 4, and we saved the last one for Scott in case he had to, I don't know, make another ladle or something ridiculous. Of course, it turned out to be bungee jumping, which I would have loved, and he was terrified of, but it made for good TV. Here, we had 2 teams that had each done 5. You had to each have done 6, I believe is what it was, by the end of this leg. So 2 teams, Greg and John and Joel and Garrett, each member had done 5, so they could decide. However, Rob and Corey, Rob had done 6 and Corey had only done 4. And same with Steve and Annalie. She had done 6 and Steve had only done 4. So whatever came to them today was going to have to be a Corey and a Steve task. Little did they know there would be 2 that came to them today. So, okay. So all 5 teams are leaving within 5 minutes of each other, which is
crazy.
Maybe the closest. I can think of one other time where it was closer. And I think it was season 28. Where all the teams raced to the mat together off of a train, and it was kind of a ridiculous foot race, and the team that went home by 3 seconds. And so all the teams started identically, but this is about as close as you can get.
So I have a question for you, Brooke. If it's something like that, would you want to go home within 3 seconds, or would you rather it be like 20 minutes?
Can I not go home? I guess 20 minutes. I don't know. Like 3. Right. But the thing is, for me, it would have been the 3 seconds. I was clearly the slowest. There was one team that was slower than me, like on our season. So like, would have done my best, but I'm probably the person who would have fallen a little bit short. Although there was a team or 2 I could have beaten now.
Yeah, I just don't know, like, the emotional standpoint of, like, if I go home, like, do I want to go home and, like, literally a second away from not going home? Or do I want to, like, stroll on in and be like, what's up, Phil? Like, I don't know. Like, what would be better?
I think the stroll.
Right.
I feel like the stroll. You have your moment. Okay, so everyone is getting ready to go to Ireland. But first, an Expedia commercial where they all talk about how great the app is. And they go on. And Expedia did their product placement and blah, blah, whatever. So great. So they're going to Ireland to take the plunge. So you have to swim out to a buoy in the Irish Sea. And everyone on their way there is talking about, Corey is talking about how the pressure is on and pressure makes diamonds. And he's all inspirational. And Rob is all, I'm going to haul ass today, which is holy. Rob is, without Annalie, Rob's now my spirit animal. Like you would think that the dad would be all, inspirational. He's like, I am going to just bust a move. Like, I love him. I love him.
And I loved how when they jumped in the water, they ain't have no life jackets on. Joel and Garrett had their life jackets on.
It's just going to slow you down, honestly.
Corey and Rob, well, first of all, what Corey was, I said, okay, look at Corey.
Well, okay, so I wrote down, I was like, here we go. We're talking about this. I say, let Brice talk about sexy men in swimsuits. I put it in here. I got on page 2 of my notes. I'm ready. I said,
okay. But listen, in my opinion, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, because I saw Rob with his hairy chest. I said, now wait a minute. Is Rob contending to be in the next Zaddy calendar? Like, I don't know.
Father and son page in the next calendar?
Listen, because I said, ooh, but listen, I was wondering, because when Corey jumped into that water, he was out. Like, he was like,
they cut through the water fast, both of them.
Mind you, I wasn't at home. I was on the airplane, but I was in my mind saying 20 feet, because Corey was out, but Rob definitely kept up. And I'm a Pisces, so I love anything water. That cold plunge, I was like, oh, I would have loved to get into that water.
Oh, see, I'm a Steve. I love water. I love to swim. I was a lifeguard and a swim instructor. I will cut through the water. We never had to swim, only running. Anyway, I love that. But Steve gets in the water and he's like, we have a pool. If the pool's not 98.6 degrees, I'm not getting in it. I feel that, Steve. That's fine. There's no reason to ever get in water. I mean, it's good for the joints, and I think it's good for, inflammation and stuff like that. People take ice baths. I understand. It's not something I particularly ever want to do. I did try it once. It's not comfortable.
I love it. Well, once you get the breathing, right? Because it's like you have to really work through breathing, but I've done it a couple of times, and
maybe that was my problem. I just was like,
right. Yeah. You really
that's not the breathing.
You have to push your breath out. Like you have to like
labor.
Right. Because it's like, if not, you're going to your body's going to tense up and you're not going to breathe. And
that's what happened to me. So yeah, we had that happen. Okay. So Steve and Annalie are on their way. They hope the water is warm. They're in for a rude awakening. And then everyone arrives in Dublin. They go to this 40-foot for a swim. It is a self-drive, and it is a stick shift on the left. You know how we love a self-drive. Now,
And I'm
I am the only,
left-handed.
me too. I was going to say,
So
we knew that about each other. I was like, this stick shift actually is slightly easier for, the Purple Pants podcast pit stop crew because we lefties. So, okay. So we talked about who's done the roadblocks. Here's where things go wrong. Steve takes a wrong turn. And while everyone is close together, Steve and Brice is driving his way, if you're listening and not watching, through the podcast. You actually look like you know what you're doing. You're shifting gears with your left hand.
I told you.
Have you done it before on the left side?
You don't remember? Well, no. Well, to answer your question, yes. But I have not done.
Sorry.
Sorry, Mama Kim. Hi. But
She's
remember. After the first season, the pit stop, I saw on Groupon a stick shift.
Yes.
So I have taken stick shift before, but that sounds bad.
Stop it. Stop it.
But I'm never on the left side.
Well, there's always time to switch it up.
Listen. Okay.
We're going off the rails. Okay. Says no, I don't care. Steve's taking a wrong turn. This is where things go wrong because everyone else gets there quickly and Steve and Annalie are behind. Now, they're not so detrimentally behind, but they are behind. And I think this is where it starts to I don't think this killed them.
Now, I will say, though, when I was watching that, and mind you, Annalie is my girl, she did say turn at the street. And
well, she said turn around, and he said, do you want me to turn? And she said, yes.
So
I understood what she was saying.
I feel like sometimes I'm a little slow. So in that moment, I was like, what did he do wrong? He turns. But see, you got to be really, really clear. But I was like, I was a little bit on Steve's side that time.
No, I knew what she was saying. Annalie
saw the street. He turned it.
Yeah, but I would also, yes, you have to turn, but you have to keep turning so that you can turn back around. If you have to go down the next street, great. Listen, I'm with her.
Steve likes the main roads, the big highways. You said turn. He said
he drove that car like a boss.
Yeah.
Everyone else is whining and complaining, and Steve's like, I got this. But he got it the wrong way. So, okay, so everyone is in the water. All the sexy men in their swimsuits are swimming out there. Everyone goes in, everyone comes back. It's not that hard. I really do think Joel and Garrett, unless they're not swimmers, a life jacket will just slow you down in a situation like that because he can't do the whole movement as well.
And in the beginning, Phil said walk out there. I really feel like they could have just stood up and walked.
Oh, no, I think the walk out was because the steps were into the water and then you had to swim.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if the 40 foot was the distance of the whole hole or no, it had to be the depth, 40 feet. I don't know. It was walk into the thing and then swim out. So you have to swim out to that buoy. They're all gone before Steve and Annalie arrives. Steve's wearing his sneakers. I don't know if they're water sneakers, but I think they're his regular sneakers, which damn near make him drown. I actually was worried for his well-being. You could see how they had the rescue swimmers in the water and the lifeguard watching because when your sneakers, it's like swimming in jeans. That's dumb. Like you will go down with that.
But you can also tell that Steve is has been in the water before because anytime that you're swimming or you get fatigued, what you just go on your back.
Backstroke, right. And he did it with fins on his hands because he took his sneakers off and he put them on his hands and made himself some paddles. So whatever works. But you could tell Annalie was worried. I think the only person who didn't really seem worried was Steve.
Well, I mean, Annalie was worried, but also
but not so worried that she was gonna go back and get him, right? She was like, Dad,
come on,
is my dad there? Right.
Can somebody go get him?
Well, that's the thing. If they go get him, then I'm thinking there's a penalty. Like if he can't complete the task on his own. So good on you, Steve, for continuing and never asking for. I don't think he actually needed the help. I think he was
he just wanted Annalie to slow down a little bit, but he knows his daughter. And again, Annalie was in it. She was locked in. And I'm sure some Facebook chatter, I'm not on the Facebook chatter, but I don't
I
care what
am.
nobody say. She was locked in, and I'm not mad at that. And I just love the relationship that she has with her dad because it's just like very similar to my mom. When I go over my mom's house, my mom be like, I'm like, what? Then my mom will be like, go out, like, like that's like the type of banter that we have. So it's like,
Same.
I get it. Like, I get it.
People just like to pick at things. It's going to be like, I don't even know what I'm going to do next week when Facebook's not bad mouthing anybody. Like, I just have to be happy and content and whatever. Like, I don't know. People are like, I'm happy that she went home because she's so mean to her dad. No, she's not.
No,
She's not mean to her dad. They are such a cute pair. And this is how, and you know what? I did notice there's this thing called Franken editing. I've mentioned it before. Like, they showed me holding my arm and crying before they showed me fall. And so they were showing her say, come on, dad, when dad was actually in front of her. Like, they were just, they used a sound bite, and it's fine. There are things she said, but like, everyone needs to just calm down.
And not for nothing, I think Anna Lee and Steve, they need to, where's the merch? I need a come on dad shirt, okay? Come on dad.
Right.
Where's the shirt?
I would buy that
want
shirt. Well, maybe it'll be coming. We'll tell them they should get some shirt. I want one too. I like that. Okay, so once you finish the swimming, also her swimsuit was really, really cute. I want to know where that came from. So hit me up. Let me know. Okay, so they have to go to the Gaiety Theater, I think it's called, for their next clue. So they get to the theater. Here's the other thing. Before they get to the theater, Steve and Annalee are out of the water, and Greg and John are getting directions. And Steve and Annalee happen upon Greg and not mad.
I am with you there, right?
So Greg and John are going, and Steve and Annalee are following.
Yes.
So yeah.
Can you hear me?
So and Greg, I believe, is the one driving. I can now, yeah.
Okay, I think
so. Greg is the one who's driving, and he's like, I think we have Steve and Annalee behind us. Okay, so Greg is the one who's driving, and Steve and Annalee are behind them. And he says, I think we have some followers. But then Steve and Annalee decide that they're going to stop and get directions because they think Greg and John are going wrong. And Greg and John are like, we're not going wrong, and they weren't going wrong. I think Steve and Annalee actually get there first, so it does work out for them. So they get to the theater. Rob and Corey get there first, and the roadblock, number 1. And now, I don't know what would have happened. If Rob had to do this roadblock, it would have to just be feeling the vibrations of the music on the stage. I mean, he could learn the steps, but he can't hear the music. So fortunately for them, this is one that Corey has to do.
And what I loved about Corey and Rob was that they said they strategically allowed Rob to do more upfront so that in the end, if it happened to be something physical, Corey was ready and waiting to go.
And this was smart because it happened to be something musical. So Corey, this was the luck of the race for them. The luck of the Irish, if you will.
Was I the only one that was like smitten over Corey when he picked his partner? And then, in the end, he was like, and she happened to be kind of cute. I was like, look at
They were such a cute couple. And the Facebook went crazy. And they're like, are they dating? She's married, guys. Relax. She's married to another dancer because we do our research here. Okay, so Corey is learning this dance. He is so cute doing, like, the two of them she's a great teacher, by the way. I'm then now standing up and trying to learn the river dance and hopping back and doing the thing. I want to learn it. I like trying to do the tasks that they do on the race. I've memorized a poem. I'm doing the river dance, blah, 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 whatever. So you have to
river dance just needs a little, they need a little pop it. Like, a little junk in the trunk need to move when they pop, pop, pop. That's all the river dance needs, in my opinion. But
the music for the river dance, I loved it so much. It just was so like Game of Thronesy. It was very, I enjoyed it. So he's there doing his thing. They're very cute together. And then Joel and Garrett show up second. And Joel volunteers to do it. He's like, I'll get my steps in. You're standing in front of river dance. He seemed genuinely surprised when it was like, join the river dance team. And he's like, and I'm like, just look right there. It's a huge thing that says river dance. Like,
But
What
the
do you
thing,
think it is, sir?
right. But the thing I have to give Joel is that, like, when he was first trying it, he was like, I think the biggest hurdle that I need to get over is telling myself that I can't do it. And that was like really big for me because there are like so many times in life that things come up and it's like, I'm like, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't
That's
do it.
just it's my catchphrase on the show. I'm with you. I hear you. But we
But
can do it.
right, you can. And I think it's mind over matter, right? And when you like commit to I'm going to do it, I think things happen. So I love that about Joel.
I loved Joel. He talked about how he took a dance class in college to meet girls. He met girls, but never learned to dance. He did such a great job of not letting the negativity like seep into his brain because he was not good at it. I mean, let's be fair. He was not good, but he never stopped. And he's like, I'm going to take a minute. I'm going to come back. I'm going to take your energy and we're going to nail it. And I honestly think the judge in this task was very, very helpful because if you had a judge who was just like, nah, again, like just mean, this judge was so supportive. Yeah, he's the executive producer and associate director of Riverdance and was just so kind about it. He was like, that was great. You'll do great again. Like he's up there. This judge for a whole different reason of, no, or your dragon will not fly.
Your dragon. I liked it because I'm like, even if because listen, let's be real. A lot of them were not getting them steps. However, it's like you just needed to pretend like you were, and you have to hit it with the boom, boom. Like
right.
that, that's all you had to do and you would get it. So I appreciated him for, I feel like I appreciate the producer for meeting each participant where they were, right? Like, okay, you clearly not getting these steps, but you're going to have to at least move up with the dancers, go back with the dancers, and then hit the boom, pop, pop.
I want to see you do it. We should learn this river dance. I feel like you'd be good.
I mean, I'm a little, like, I feel like I'm not the best dancer, but once I get the steps, I'll have it forever. So I would have been more like a Steve.
I do think Corey obviously had a little bit of an advantage because when you're there first and you don't have everyone else talking and training their person like in the same area. So he did have a nice advantage. There was a time in Venice where we had to sing on a canal and we got there and I was like, we need to move away from this team because you hear other teams practicing and you're like, like you can't do things when you hear other people in your ear. So, but I will say, Joel, more power to you. Steve, maybe even more power to you. He was like, I'm just used to wiggling and I just, slide. Like, this is what we do. We two-step. Those two were so heartwarming during this task because they so easily could have been like I'm never going to get it and get down on themselves. And neither one did. I think Anna Lee, when she saw what it was like, mother, like, why can I not do this roadblock? Like, I think she would have coursed right through. I think that would have been the game changer for the episode.
The MVP of the night, in my opinion, was John because they were behind. They were the last team practically at this point. And John came up in there. John said he played the piano.
Yeah.
He was like, music is a language to him. John got the boom, pop, 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 pop.
He really did.
No, he really, and mind you, like I was watching when I was on the plane, I kept rewinding his like segment because he was into it. Like, like he was like the smiles, he was really performing. And so I was very proud of him.
Well, you could tell, like, one of the things they said, keep your smile, keep with the you could tell he understood the assignment. Like, he's like, even if I'm not perfect, I'm going to do everything else that I can do so perfectly that they're not going to not be able to pass me. So, yeah, Corey gets it in 2 tries. Corey did so great.
No,
like,
Corey
he was actually getting the flips and the flicks and the, what can't these people do? Like, it's ridiculous.
Corey didn't have no pots on his head, so he was like, I can learn to dance.
So then John gets it in 2 tries as well. Passed. He's great, but he's like, I do all things music. I know it. He does make a comment a little bit later that's a little bit cocky and maybe foreshadowing. We'll talk about it. So Joel, we're talking about how Joel stresses out. After 7 tries, he finally gets it, but not before after 9 tries, Steve finally gets it. Now, the way that happened is because Joel at some point decided to go back upstairs and practice again. And Garrett's like, did he leave? What's he doing? And then Joel's like, maybe I don't want to do that. So Joel gets it. Steve gets it in 9 tries. Joel gets it in 7 tries.
But
so
Steve
heartwarming.
Gets it first, though. Like Steve and Anna Lee are out first.
Yes, and Anna Lee, I think, was genuinely a little bit surprised. And just so it's got to be so hard, like when you know you can do something better than your partner, but you can't actually do that task because you're not allowed to sit there. She was so supportive, like, good job, Dad. Where are the good job, Dad people? No, people just like to harp when she's like, come on, Dad. But also their support. I give up. That's fine. Nobody. Okay, so after you're done with this roadblock, you have to drive to Croke Park to get your next clue. And this is like a stadium that plays some sort of sport, but we don't know what the sport is until we get there. It is hurling, which is kind of like lacrosse meets baseball
meets rugby.
Yeah.
Maybe not rugby, because rugby is a little more physical. But so is lacrosse. So I feel like it's lacrosse meets baseball meets badminton.
With football goalposts.
Yes.
And soccer.
That you also can hit it in the soccer. Yeah, that was the part that just confused me.
They just took a lot of sports and put it together, and they came up with hurling. So roadblock number 2. I'm curious as to why they made this 2 roadblocks. But roadblock number 2, Corey has to do it again. So this is a very Corey and a very Steve heavy episode because they had to do both the roadblocks. So they get to the stadium. This is where I lost it. They're running into the stadium and Rob goes, I want this more than anything. And I just flipping love him. And then Corey's like, I heard my dad say that. And I'm like, I want it more than anything too. And then I start crying. And he just always has this smile on his face. Rob is, I wonder if they ever fight. I'm going to ask them if they ever fight. Maybe they are. We just don't know. Rob could be signing, you suck, and we don't know. But I'm going to ask. I'm curious. Okay, so Corey has to do this roadblock. He's happy because he played baseball. Rob is beaming like you showed because he loves watching his son do things. It takes Corey 7 tries, but it's such a fast roadblock because the second you drop the ball, you can start over and nobody else is there. So he gets it done really, really quickly, and they're in and out in first. And then Greg gets there because he hopped over the other 2 at the dancing, at the Lord of the Dance. And this one is Greg's turn because they are even on roadblocks. And he gets it on the second try. And the first try, he didn't get it only because he wasn't moving fast enough, not because he even didn't do anything right. So good on him. I think the hardest part of this was hitting the ball through the uprights. I think you needed to have a little bit of upper body strength for that. And then Garrett shows up. Again, because Steve and Anna Lee, are lost. They get lost again. They see Steve and Anna Lee when they're leaving, and they're shocked they're not in last. So Garrett and Joel need to remember that things change because they're always so shocked. Although I guess that's fair. I was usually shocked.
Although they're so shocked, for them to think that they were in last place, they still were in it. You know what I mean? It's I love their go get it attitude, and I love how they just stay upbeat, and it doesn't matter if they think they're in first or last. Their energy is the same. And
they're racing like they're in last all the time, which is really what you have to do, especially toward the end here, because the lead changes are when you're so close, you could be in last and third, and the difference is 10 seconds. So just race like you're always in last. So this one is Garrett's turn. And this is where now I want Joel and Garrett to win, because Garrett starts talking about what he'll do with the money. And he's mentioned previously he has a special needs daughter. And if he wins the money, they want to buy her a service dog. Somebody get the man a service dog. I will start a petition. Your daughter needs a service dog. There's got to be.
Brooke, you will go down the street and find a stray dog.
I will train it. Yes.
Okay. Train it. And gift it to them, right? So it's when he said that, I think I was for me, it really, I don't know what the exact word I want to use, but it just, in my mind, just think, you expect people to say house, or this, or that. And for him, it seemed like something so simple, right? But so thoughtful, so I don't know, that just got me really emotional. And people always say the money's for my family and this and that, but I just felt like he was so specific, and it was just, yeah, that got me emotional.
We have to know somebody. Somebody within the CBS family of reality TV personalities has to know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody. I'm going to see who I know that knows someone, and I'm going to be like, look, we need a service dog for this very cute little girl, and we're going to make it happen. Garrett, if you didn't win the money, and I don't know if you did or not, because again, I'm going in with no knowledge of the finale, but if you didn't, let's talk, because I volunteer sometimes at an animal shelter here in New York City, but they're not service dogs. They're just, I believe in rescuing dogs, but this touched my soul on such a deep level because of the animal thing and because my mother was a special education teacher. Like, this is all very hitting home, and I want to do what I can to help. So we're going to do what we can. Or maybe you won $1 million and you don't need our help, in which case, can I borrow $20? Just kidding. Sorry. Okay. So anyway, they're in, they're out. Garrett does great. He does it in 6 tries, but again, they're very fast tries. And then they see Steve and Annalie as they're leaving. Steve does it in 2 tries because the man is a beast, and I love him. Love him. Yeah. Whew. Okay. So once you're done with that task, the route information says drive to Toner's Pub and secure your spot in the final 3. You have to become a literary scholar. You have to get to the pub, and each team member has to recite a James Joyce quote by memory. And once you've done that, you get your final clue, and you get to go meet Phil at St. Patrick's Cathedral, which is pretty freaking awesome. Now, I think one of the quotes was way easier than the other quote, but
I
be
do
that as it
too,
may.
because it was a man that loved has a wife, not a brother. No, a wife, a widow, a gobbler, brother in love. Neither alone, nor away,
That's the other one.
nor in, nor out.
Nor not that. So one of them, if I have it correct,
Okay.
was every life is many days. Day after day, we walk through ourselves, meeting robbers, ghosts, giants, old men, young men, wives, widows, brothers in love, but always meeting ourselves. James Joyce, Ulysses. The other one was very hard, and I didn't
Very
even bother
hard.
trying to learn it. Like, it was like, not within, not I alone, nor you, whatever.
Nor you, nor
Repeated
me.
until affinity. I don't know. I would have done the easier one.
Yeah, I would have looked at both of them, and I'd have been like, I'm doing that one. I also was cracking up how I love how some teams said the name, because I guess technically
James
the
Joyce,
card
Ulysses.
says to read the whole thing. But yeah, I thought that this one was a really interesting one. I also thought when Joel and Garrett were doing it like live, and I think it is Garrett who's like, when you were saying it, it was messing me up. And like he had to put his ears in his
I think that was very funny. So the harder one went first. So Corey and Rob both get it on the first try because they're amazing, and then they're off. John and Greg show up. Greg does the harder one, I think, and he gets booed. They start booing him when he messes up. And he's like, okay, all right, we'll be right back. That's fine. And then they get it on the second try. Joel and Garrett, Joel goes first. He gets booed. I think it's really funny. But Garrett is like, you're messing me up. I can't pay attention. And so they're off. And then they get it in 2 tries, and then they're gone. And then Steve and Annalie, I mean, they only show 1 try, but they get it in the 1 try. And everyone's cheering them on. They do so great. She's like, thanks, y'all. And they're out. So the pit stop is St. Patrick's Cathedral.
One thing, though, whenever we have these scenes in Amazing Race, I always find it a little awkward. The like clearly paid patrons that are in the bar that are like, I just, and like, I don't know why I always focus in on those people, because it's like, I understand.
This is their moment.
Right. But it's just like, y'all not saying, like, it's just, yeah. And then there's always the one person that's like doing it, but then you can catch their eye on Phil. And so they're like, but yeah, I just always pay attention to those people in the background.
I think they're so funny. We had gondola people when we were singing in Venice on our gondola, and they were like a happy couple. And we're like, are you guys really a couple? And they're like, no. No. Actors. Okay, so at the pit stop at St. Patrick's Cathedral, Rob and Corey get there first for the first time all season, and they win a trip to Fiji. Here's Brooke's gripe. We won the leg before the last leg. No prize.
Brooke, you won the grand prize.
Right. But had we not, then I would have been like, where's my prize for winning a leg? That was frustrating. But there were several seasons in there where there was no prize for winning the penultimate leg. It was just you get to go on to the final three, which honestly worked out. I'm not really complaining. But they get to go to Fiji, which as someone who was just in Fiji is like, that is one hell of a prize. And they're actually going right to one of the, like right by one of the Survivor Islands. They were talking about the Survivor, like the island. And so they'll be right near where all of you guys were being all stranded and marooned.
I was in the Philippines, so I wasn't out there. But I think this is when I start to get a little emotional. Again, like Corey saying every day of the race has been his best day. And then I don't know why I'm getting like a little emotional just thinking about it now, right? Like I just love the fact that like Corey and Rob say that like they're best friends and this has only really made their relationship stronger, and that like Rob is Corey's best friend and Corey is Rob's best friend. And it's like moments like this, you know, my dad wasn't really in my life. And so it's like, if I were to have a relationship with my dad is deceased now, but like, I want a relationship like them, right? Like that just got me so emotional. And I was like, okay, I want them to win.
When you meet Rob, just be like, are you taking applications? Because I'll be like, my dad's great. Dad, don't call me.
Not
Rob is just so positive all the time. All right, fine. I got lucky. Fine. You're right. Sorry. Can we edit this out?
No, we keeping it because listen.
I'm gonna get a phone call right now.
And guess what? And if Rob is taking applications, Papa Cam High, are you taking applications?
Oh, my dad loves you. He would oust me he'd be like, that's great. You can't take my spot, but you can join us. Okay, so they win a trip to Fiji. It's Rob's dream to go to Fiji, and they're just so cute. It's annoying. Okay, then Greg and John show up second, and they're just happy to be there. They seem a little bit humbled that they're not first all the time.
But I love it though, right? Because they're like, you know, we've gotten it 4 times. We just need to get it one more time. I was like, oh, like I was.
We know you've gotten it 4 times. Like we get it. Like
But listen, sometimes it's okay for a humble brag. It's okay. Like, you know, like I was like, y'all better talk that talk.
Mm-hmm. So, and then Joel and Garrett show up. And they say, they're like, people probably thought we'd be out so early, which is funny because we've said that. We thought they would be out really early, but we stay positive and we make things happen. I honestly, if they went now, I want them to win because I want Garrett's daughter to get her service dog. I just like the teams that are a little bit older, although Rob is in his late 40s, so I'm cool with that too. But I do, their positivity is just like infectious. Like they're just joyful, even when it's stuff and it's funny because between the two of them, they've like, I don't know, owned a creperie and like carried sugarcane and they have done all these things. Dancing was not one of them, but even when it's like hard, they're still so positive. So I would not be angry if the $1 million goes to Joel and Garrett. They want to take their wives on real vacations. I just give it to them. Give it to all, split it. Yeah. And then Steve and Annalie show up and they dance off into the sunset together. You know, yes, they talk. I mean, Steve and Annalie, you kicked a ton of butt. And to all of the haters, you're entitled to your opinion. Your opinion is wrong. Steve and Annalie were so great. They dance off together. Like they talk about how they're so close, how they love spending time together. Steve and Annalie for second chances or the challenge or I don't care, anything and everything. Put them back on my television immediately.
Yes. But again, I also feel like we are sad that they are gone. However, y'all beat out 11 teams, right? Like you're in 4th place. And so sometimes it's like, yes, you may not have won, but I think that it's a cause for celebration to come in number 4.
Yeah.
And so I know sometimes it's like we don't get what we want all the time, but we also forget all of the things that we have had to do to get here. So it's like, although I'm very sad for Annalie and Steve, I'm still like, very proud of them. I thought that they killed it. I thought Steve did his thing. I thought Anna Lee did her thing. So I'm very happy for them.
I am too. And heads held high, folks. You guys were really a joy to watch. And I have a feeling this is not the last we're going to see of you. So for next week, we have the finale. They're ending up in Seattle. And you know how they show, you don't watch the thing, but they show the final 3 teams being like, we're going to win it because of this. And we're no one can take us down. And go us. We can do it. Well, John, in his little thing, is like, so I know that the other teams have each won one time, and that's cute and all, but it was a little cocky.
I love it.
If they don't win, I mean, they better win. They're talking a big game.
You better hype your bestie up. You don't need no beat. You better hype your bestie up. You don't need a beat. You better hype your bestie up. Just do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do this or that. That's the energy John was having, and I ain't mad. Listen, okay?
Well, it only takes one. I mean, I won leg 11, and then there was a team in there that had won like 3 times, and it only takes one. So I don't know who it's going to be. I would be happy if it's any of the 3. John and Greg are great. Rob and Corey, obviously, I want Rob to win everything ever in life. And Joel and Garrett, I'm getting you. We're gonna find a way. Even if you don't win, service dog. Yeah. I'm putting it on my list of New Year's resolutions.
I love all the teams. I'm clearly rooting. I mean, I either wanted to be Rob or Corey.
Right. Who are you clearly rooting for?
But I mean, I love the brothers and I love Rob and Corey. So it's like, I love Joel and Garrett.
If it has to be one, who do you want to win?
That one is hard. That one is really hard because I love me some Rob and Corey. But honestly, from my perspective, seeing 2 Black brothers, and their relationship and just seeing them 2 up there really resonates something with me. So I would have to like be rooting a tad bit harder for John and Greg, but that not a no, but just by that much, because again, I want Rob and Corey to win too. So, but Ed, I want Joel
to win. It's so rare. First of all, there's no women in the finale, which you would think it's annoying. It's upsetting. I wish there was at least one female out there. But you know what? I don't think ever I have had a season where all of the teams, if any of them win, I would just be cheering at the top of my lungs. Like there's always a team where we like a little more, or one team we're like, ugh, okay, whatever. This is all 3 seem like genuinely. I mean, we've met most of them, like good people, and forget good people, like just deserving of a win. They're all just great.
That's true. They all are deserving of it. So like, yeah.
And I'm excited to watch it with you. And so we can cheer and scream together and celebrate the winner in person this week. Yeah. So it's going to be great.
So that'll be excited. Well, this has been your Purple Pants Podcast, Pit Stop coverage of Amazing Race, Season 35, Episode 11. Tune in next week where we will have our exit interviews with the remainder. 3 teams.
Christmas themed.
And we will have our final recap episode, and we might have some photos to share by this time next week. So again, thank you guys so much for listening. Let us know in the comments what you think, what team you're rooting for, and we'll be back next week. See you.
Bye.
Pit stop. Pit stop. It's a pit stop. Pit stop. It's a pit.